All right, so let's get started. Welcome, everyone. For those of you who are listening, which is going to be everyone because this isn't live. So, welcome to the first uh, molding discussions that Meha came up with, is the title of our podcast. So, this is going to be the first episode, and we'll see how long we continue this. We had to record this in two separate parts, so that's why we're in different clothes and different settings and everything. But yeah, um, obviously we are Balding Doctors officers uh, at UTD, and obviously Molding Doctors is a pre-med organization on campus, and we are undergrad pre-med students. And the purpose of this podcast is to, obviously for entertainment, but for to make it informational regarding, pre-med topics, common frequently asked questions, other medical and non-medical topics, current events, humanitarian issues, stuff like that. And yeah, we'll have guest speakers and we'll have members join in. So if you want to come in and you're a member or you're watching this and you're someone else, like a med student or a doctor, and you want to join in and talk with us about random things, feel free to message us or email us at moldingdoctors@gmail.com. But yeah, so we'll get started. I'll introduce myself. So my name is Sri Yarlagada. I am the president of the current academic year. Um, and so I'm a senior, and I am majoring in biology and minoring in psychology. And um, I've been with Molding Doctors since my freshman year. Um, and in my sophomore year, I became an officer as historian. I continued that in my junior year as well. And then I was the internal vice president. And then this year, I am the president. So that's kind of like my brief history with Molding Doctors. And I really enjoyed my experience both as a member and as an officer. Um, you really gain a lot of experiences, and it's really good for networking. And yeah, and I guess some other things. Actually, we'll get to that later. So I'll let you guys introduce yourself first.
Hi everyone. My name is Meha, and I'm excited to be on this podcast. I'm currently the Vice President of Service. This is my second year as Vice President of Service. I started off as a member freshman year. I was also part of the fundraising committee, which was a really great experience. Then I was a service coordinator, and yeah, the last 2 years I've been the VP of Service. I basically look for volunteering opportunities. I started the Roundtable and Book Club programs. So yeah, I really like when our members get involved and feel passionate about the issues that they are contributing to. So that's what I love about this position. And my experience with Molding Doctors has been really great. Honestly, like the reason why I felt supported, like as a pre-med student, coming into my freshman year was because, I met these amazing people with Molding Doctors, and the officers were always so warm and encouraging. So that's what I love about our environment.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Anmol Singh. I am currently a senior majoring in biology. It's my first year as an officer. I am actually a transfer student, so I was a member for a year. So last year I was a member, and then this year I'm an officer. I am the historian, and I'm loving it so far because as historian I can really kind of use my creativity and kind of tie it into. Sorry, can you edit this part out? By being historian because I can tie in my creativity and kind of just put it out on a platform which ties into my education as well. So I genuinely really enjoy it, and my experience with Molding Doctors has been great. Even as a member, I really didn't think that I was going to be an officer because I was a newbie, and I just had experiences as like an active member. But even then, I've gotten a lot of opportunities. I genuinely enjoy being on the officer panel because all of the other officers, as Meha said, are very caring and warm, and it's just a very safe environment to be in.
All right. So let's get down to a little bit of personal details. So, so I went to Plano East, which is a one of the high schools in Plano, which is very close to campus. It's about a 20-minute commute for me. And the states I lived in, I was in New Jersey when until I was 5 years old. I did all of kindergarten through college here at Plano. But yeah, before Plano, I was in New Jersey. And then before New Jersey, I was born in India, and I moved here when I was 3. I've only been there twice. When I was the last time I went was like almost 17 years ago, so I don't remember anything. Um, and I do have 2 older siblings. One's 10 years older, and another's 5 years older. Um, but yeah, that's a little um, history about me, and we'll talk about other things later.
Yeah, so I think I forgot to mention my major and minor. Oops, I'm a psychology major and a creative writing minor. I went to Coppell, but I was only there for the last 2 years. So I was born in Atlanta, and then when I was 10, I moved to India, and then I lived there for 5 years, and then I came to Texas. And so, yeah, from the area, Dallas area, for the last couple of years. And I have one younger sibling who goes to UT. So, yeah.
So I was actually born in India, and I moved to Las Vegas when I was 6 years old, and I lived there until I was about, I think, 11, and then from there I just moved here in Wiley, where I went to Wiley East High School, and I have a younger brother who also goes to Wiley East High School right now.
Do you guys miss high school?
Do I miss high school?
Yes.
No.
I do. No, I do actually, because I was very involved in like sports and even like extracurricular activities. I was in like this health practicum. So I was very like busy and all over the place. So I don't know how I even handled it, because now it's like even with 2 classes, well, I'm not taking 2 classes, but just like in comparison, even with like a class or 2 classes, I'm just like worn out. So I don't know how I did it, but
What did you guys enjoy more, like senior year of high school or freshman year of college?
what did I enjoy more?
Yeah.
Genuinely senior year of high school.
Okay. Any particular reason?
Mainly I think it's because of that health practicum that I was in. My day schedule was just very busy. Like even in the morning, like I would wake up at like 5 in the morning. I had to be at the hospital at 6, and I was there until like 9. Then I had classes throughout the day, and then after school I had tennis. Then we also had tournaments. So I was busy, and I loved being busy. So I enjoyed that.
What you mean?
I don't know. I wasn't like always perfectly put together in high school, like academically. So like my senior year was, kind of, it was fun because I was just more relaxed and I was part of the high school newspaper, which I loved. But freshman year, I really had like my shit together, if I can say that. So like I didn't really enjoy it because I was always in the library like day and night. And I'm honestly so much more chill like now, when I feel like I should be more busy, but I'm not. But yeah, so I think I like just enjoyed my progress freshman year, and I enjoyed like I was proud of myself, I guess, for like
Yeah.
being able to do everything.
Okay. Wait, just to clarify what you said, did you say you aren't always perfect?
I'm still not perfect. I just meant like I was like I was very like a mess. I feel like high school, and I was like I used to get like 3 hours of sleep a day. Like even freshman year, I got very little sleep, but I just actually did well in all my classes. High school I didn't.
Yeah. Um, for me, obviously there's both pros and cons. I think I was more outgoing in the senior year of high school because I knew that was going to be the last year and I wanted to make the most of it with all my high school friends. And obviously, in high school, you get to interact with a lot more people. It's more, you see everyone in the hallways and everything. It's more cramped, so you can see them. Um, But in freshman year, I think it was more isolated little friend groups. Especially for me, I wasn't like I didn't know what grouping was. I didn't know what peer tutoring or any of the YouTube resources were.
Mhm.
I just stuck with a group. Um, so I really enjoyed like senior year of high school. Like I would go back and repeat that year more than the freshman year.
Me too. I just feel like when you get into college, like especially like the first year, it's more of just kind of like navigating your way through. It's a huge transition.
Um, so what are some fun hobbies and things you guys like to do on your free time?
Um, did you want
I
to go on, Mo?
I can go first.
Okay.
Um, so obviously, I think everyone's gonna say Netflix. But besides watching TV, um, I really like. Obviously, I play League of Legends. That's the main game I play. I used to play like Halo a lot on my Xbox. Um, but other than that, I also used to play soccer, so I really enjoyed that. Um, and I used to go jogging and exercise and stuff like that. So I enjoyed that. I honestly really enjoy just being on YouTube and just learning different things. Um, so that's really enjoyable to me. And I guess I can add writing to it. I've been writing for a while, for like the past 2 years, and I didn't think I was ever gonna become one of those people. Because in high school, like I viewed writing as like a chore. But I was a much better writer and generally a much better student back in high school. I felt like I was much smarter in high school. But in college, I like I got dumber. Um, just because you get lazier and there's only certain things you have to know. Um, but yeah, and yeah, I really like keeping track of like what I do. Um, I don't know. I love progress. Even though like I might not get the best grades in school, like I like seeing a like upward trend in anything I do.
Do you want me to go next?
Go ahead, one more.
Okay. My hobbies, TikTok. But no, yeah, I enjoy watching TikToks. I like watching Supernatural on Netflix. But other than that, I don't coach anymore, but like the season's over. But I coach a for PYSA. I coach like 14, 15-year-old boys soccer. So I played soccer for like 8, 9 years. So I have a lot of experience with that, and that's one of my hobbies. I enjoy playing soccer. I enjoy playing tennis. I also enjoy painting. Cleaning also is like my, what is it called? You know how you have comfort food? I have like comfort chores.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
I personally enjoy cleaning the bathroom, bedroom, kitchen, stuff like that. So just weird things, but for me that's a hobby.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic.
It
Like
is, it is. That's the word.
every time, like I know I have to get my life together. I always start with cleaning my room.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Hobbies. I really love reading and writing. I've always loved writing since I was a kid. Like when I was young, I used to write like, just like creative stuff, I guess. Then I came to high school and I joined the newspaper. So I really liked like even journalism and writing opinion pieces, especially. And then college, I did a bit of newspaper and opinion writing. But then I'm a creative writing minor, so I take classes. So I like writing short stories, and I'm currently taking a nonfiction class, so it's a little different, but I enjoy that. I like, I just kind of nerdy, but I just like educating myself about different things, especially like social issues. Like a lot of times I'm literally just scrolling through Wikipedia articles because like I just like to know about, I don't know, different people, like political figures or different things. What else? I like drinking boba. I like dogs. What else do I say? But yeah. What do I watch on Netflix? Currently, I'm watching Schitt's Creek, which is pretty good, but I'm only on the
Yeah.
second season. So
Neha,
I just
everything that you said is like so sophisticated, and we're over here like
okay,
Netflix.
no, I don't. Okay, I also like baking, and cooking. I guess I don't know if that's sophisticated, but I like food.
Oh
Yeah.
yes.
I just finished watching The Queen's
Yeah, I heard that was good. What is it about?
Gambit. It's about like this chess girl prodigy in a world full of,
Mm,
I guess, men in that era. It's
yeah.
like at least in 1967.
Okay.
I think there was like addiction also going on with alcohol and drugs, but
Interesting.
you guys will know what I'm talking about when you see it. All right. So, are there any fun or unique things about you that not many people know? Like, it could be one single event, or maybe like a guilty pleasure, or maybe something you've done like in quarantine that you never had the time before. I can go first because
Okay.
so on my birthday, you know those pizza sticks in high school or
Yeah.
in school that you dip with like marinara sauce and they're like
Yeah,
big
yeah.
on the white boat trays. Yeah. So I found a website where you can order in bulk. Um, it's called like lunch food, something school lunches or something. And I bought 192 pizza sticks during quarantine.
What did you do with that penny?
I ate some of it, but I couldn't finish all of them before it got spoiled because they have to have like specific like refrigeration, and I couldn't fit everything in it. But yeah,
Did you just love them that much and like you were craving them?
I was craving it. It was a very impulsive buy. It was not worth it, but it's a story I get to now tell. So yeah,
I can't think of any crazy stories like that. I guess I had 10 hamsters when I was a kid.
it's crazy. What do you mean?
But like not at the same time, they were like back to back. Because like they would die after like 3 weeks and we didn't know why. Like we weren't doing anything bad. Like, okay, the first one my sister did douse under a sink. So that was
Yeah,
unfortunate. But the other ones, I think we just fed them a lot and they got tumors. They had like tumors in their body.
I don't know.
So anyway, I had 10 hamsters, like one guinea pig, one rabbit, bunch of fish, a dog, second dog. Yeah,
Yeah, wow,
I guess
that's
that's
okay.
interesting. But
I'm trying to think what is interesting about me, or something that I've done.
That should be an easy question.
What?
I said that should be an easy question. Yeah, like an interesting life.
Let me think.
What's something that you do that not many people do? I think there's a certain induction ceremony that you participated in.
what?
No, that was in high school. That was Spanish Honor Society, but no, I don't think that's interesting. I mean, at the time it was interesting, but I feel like a lot of people have been in like honor societies. But I guess something interesting or unique. I could have added this to my hobbies as well, but I love dancing. I used to do Zumba like all the time, but now because of like COVID, I can't go. But you know, like Punjabi dances, like Bhangra, Gidda, all of that stuff. So I love dancing.
Yeah, I
He's
have
like,
to do a dance.
that's not that unique.
I don't know. It is. The Zumba thing I think is very interesting. Um, I had to do a dance last night for my dance class. I didn't think I had to dance for anything,
Wait,
but
oh, it's
it,
like an online dance class?
yeah, it was understanding dance at UTD. Um, yeah.
Did you understand
Anyways,
dance?
yeah, I'm a master. Um, anyways, so that's us. That's a quick introduction of us. So you guys might not know the answer to this, but do you guys know what kind of doctors you guys want to be, or like the kind of field, or any goals as a healthcare provider?
This feels like a med school interview, but
Well, that's one of the
okay.
purposes.
Okay, so you said like what we would want to specialize in the future, right?
Hmm.
So ever since I mean, this sounds so cliche, but it's true. Like when I was young,
Yeah.
and since like seventh or eighth grade, every class that I've ever taken, any like extracurricular activity that I've done, it's always related to like health science. And I've always like I have a poster board in my closet where it's like this assignment that we had to do with like your future career, and I had to research about it. Um, it was for a pediatrician. So even to this day, if I want to specialize in anything in the future, it would be pediatrics, or I was also looking into like an OBGYN. So just something, one of those, we'll see. But that's just something that has, I've never struck away from either one of those. So it's always been I one or the other.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Yeah, I've always been interested in mental health, like since I was younger. I think it just started out with a fascination, like um, in popular culture, like they depict like schizophrenia and different things, and I watch like movies, and that's how I first got interested. But then I think as I got older, I developed more empathy and realized that mental illness is very common, like around us, and like people I knew and family and stuff. So I'm a psychology major, so yeah, and I also think there's just a lots of problems in the U.S. like with how we treat mental health patients and hospitalization, and patients who get just stuck in the ER and aren't able to get the services they want. So yeah, I've always wanted to go into psychiatry. I've kind of always known that. Um, but I also really like OBGYN, and I'm very interested in reproductive health. And yeah, I'm really interested in public health in general, in social equality, because there's obviously so many problems with the American healthcare system, and people of certain racial groups and economic statuses not getting the healthcare that they need, and just absurd prices, obviously. So yeah, I'm very interested in the like health policy and social determinants of health as well.
All right. That was kind of deep,
Yeah.
but but that's very interesting. I think that's the right direction that future providers should take, uh, just because there's a lot of administrative and policy involved in medicine, just not pure science. Um, so as for me, at first I wanted to become a nurse, and then my mom was like, "No, you're not going to do that." And I'm like, "Okay, what do you mean?" And
Oh.
she brought someone in, and that person was I forgot what they specialized in, but she broke down all the specializations, uh, and all the residency programs, and then I was like, okay, I want to become a cardiologist, um, which is you have to do internal medicine and then do specialization in cardio. But lately, I kind of want to just do a internal uh, residency, and then I don't want to specialize in anything because I feel um, I want to free up my time for other things. Especially like one day, like my ultimate dream would be to become like a director of the residency program at a hospital. Um, like I really want to continue um, like the teaching and mentoring and education part of like what I do now, and I want to carry that all throughout like med school and future hospitals. Even in medical school, I want to get into like medical education and hopefully like be in charge of like admissions committee for like a med school or something like that. Yeah.
Oh wait, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to add on because I just thought of something. But going back
Mhm.
to what Neha had mentioned about like empathy, I feel like as you know, you were just talking about that you wanted to be a nurse before. So with my path, like it wasn't always traditional. Like I had set out to go to nursing school and you know hopefully in the future get my master's and become like a nurse practitioner. But I don't know. I still don't know. I'm still trying to figure out why. Why was it that I transitioned as a nursing major now to a pre med? But going back to what she was talking about empathy, I do think that as like a like future physician or even physicians right now, I think that like patient and physician relationships are very important because with physicians, that's the relationship that you have with them. It's going to be throughout, like depending on if you go to the same physician again and again. Because personally, for me, with the physician that I have a very close relationship. I can trust my physician, so I feel like there's a sense of empathy there and understanding. And if there's no empathy or understanding in this career, then it's like, what's the point? You know?
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Like a
Yeah.
more lighthearted note, I completely agree with you, Anmol. But my mom also, Shri. So when I first said I was like really interested in like mental health and psychology when I was like younger, maybe like 12, 13, and then I
Yeah.
was like, okay, I'm gonna be a psychologist. And my mom literally pulled up like a website with a list of like rankings of salaries, and psychologist was like, okay. So then she showed me like everything else. I was like, okay, I guess I can't be a psychologist. But yeah, brown parents basically like, yeah, unfortunately.
But I do think that
I
there's a lot of prestige that comes in with being a physician. You get that credibility. So regardless of what you specialize in, you do gain that credibility.
Mhm. Yeah, I also consider being a clinical psychologist and like something in that regard. But we never know what's gonna happen, like our experiences and our clinical volunteering or shadowing undergrad and when you get to medical school. So that's kind of the trajectory I'm looking at. Part of wanting to become a like director of in residency programs is because I want to really touch base on the burnout aspect of physicians that a lot of people talk about, and I really think with this fast-paced like society that we live in, that needs to be addressed in a medical setting as well. And not only burnout, but like that burnout leads to eventually like physician suicide. Well, not eventually, but there has been two alarming numbers for me to go unnoticed. Um, so hopefully, I want to tackle that, and yeah, so we'll see how that goes, and what experiences we might have in
I love that you want to give back to like medical education because I don't think most people, are just trying to go along their own journeys and, make their own careers. But I think that's really important that you care about because that's such an important issue and something that's so prevalent, but, still not addressed too much. So,
right. Sometimes I'm afraid I want to be more of a teacher than a physician, but I think I have enough passion for like the human body that I want to do both. That's why I want to just become an internist and go still do the patient care aspect, but do these side projects I want
teaching too.
to have. If like everyone talks about like Plan B and like that's like a common like medical school like what ifs.
Yeah.
If I were to choose a plan B, I would want to become like a high school teacher. Uh, for all kind of similar reasons, I want to guide like high schoolers on the right path. Um, Especially because there's a lot of like uncertainty and like it's a very confusing time. Because in college there's more uh, like there's more acceptance and more groups and less bullying. But in high school there's so much bullying for no reason, and people care about the randomest, littlest things, and yeah, seems like
That's
life or
why
death. Yeah.
I'm out of there. Yeah.
I agree with you, Sri. I think it's really important to be an educator because just kind of tying it into my own personal experience. Like currently, I tutor high schoolers and they come to me for advice with like college and stuff. So it's really nice to, be there because I didn't have that guidance. I'm
Right.
the older sibling in my household. My parents have their education from, a third world country. So it's nice that, you're able to be there as educators or as mentors. So I think that's really important that you also want to carry that forward, even with medicine, because you honestly never stop learning in life.
Right. Yeah. I think that's like um I know a common question is like why do you get up every day? Um and I think like my main answer would be to like better understand myself every single day and just to grow as a human being. Um and like if we're getting technical, like I have an actual answer to this. Another answer to that is to help others uh, stay on their paths to realizing their dreams. But yeah.
I appreciate that honestly because in pre-med culture that's very rare. So the fact that, it's very selfless and thoughtful.
Yeah.
So it's something that we should have as pre-meds.
Yeah.
All right. So the next topic is we're going to take a look at our current state of affairs, starting with coronavirus. Obviously, believe it or not, out of everything that's going on right now, especially with the election, coronavirus, I still think, is the biggest change in our lives right now. Obviously, having a different president or having the same president impacts a lot of those laws and stuff. But right now, this year especially, coronavirus has been the main shift and change in our lives.
How has everyone's experience been with the coronavirus and how has it impacted, your academic life or personal life?
And how you can
I think there's been benefits and disadvantages. I mean, obviously, a lot of us, suffered with adjusting to virtual classes and everything. And with mental health, it wasn't like very easy the whole summer, being stuck at home. Definitely, like there were days when I was just like, laying in my bed, and like other days where I felt motivated, and like I tried to use the opportunity of just time to like I guess educate myself about the things that I care about and social issues and stuff. Like listen to podcasts all day and like just like color and chill. Um, but I just realized I think more about like what I want and like what I want to do in my life, and it led me to like taking the decision of like taking a few gap years before I go on with medical school, just because I feel like I need some time to explore my passion for social work and I guess more direct advocacy. So I want to, just take some time for myself to do that. So in that way, it was, I guess, kind of a revelation. And I feel less pressure to compare myself with other people, even though like now I'm hearing everyone like, oh, I'm going this place next year. I'm going to like this school, whatever, which is like, it kind of makes me feel like, oh, maybe my like life is behind. But at the same time, I know like through these years, I've learned that like, everyone obviously has their own journey, and it's best to just be in your place and figure out what's good for you. So yeah, I think it's been nice in some ways. That's kind of my review of this personal experience.
I think I have a very similar experience in quarantine. Knowing like what I want to do and just taking stock uh, and just thinking about the future in that regard. Just because you have so much free time and you're alone with your thoughts, you have to like that's one of the only things you can do because you can't go anywhere. So organizing, planning, and thinking about the future is something you can do and you should do instead of just wasting away. Um, I think uh, like part of, like I think I've gone through like all 5 stages of grief, if that makes sense. Like acceptance, denial, bargaining, depression. Um, I'm missing something else. Denial. Anger, I think.
I was gonna say
There's
anger.
like the second, third one. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna say anger.
yeah. I've definitely been angry, not being able to see, obviously my friends ending out the year. Just for reference, it has been 230 days since UTD closed, and to when we're recording this, which is number 6. And I thought at least, we all thought it was just going to be 2 extra weeks of spring break. And we were all excited at first, but we were like, oh God, no, please let us go back. Yeah. It was kind of like, I feel like the very final days before I actually knew how long this was going to take, I felt like I actually made like everyone, like I remember like the moment it happened. I was in anatomy and physiology lab too, and Dr. Yu like was trying to lecture, and everyone was just checking the UTD website. And as soon as it happened, we all just looked at each other, and Dr. Yu still kept going because he didn't know what was going on. And then one student was like, I forgot what he said, but it was like very funny. And he was like, "Oh," and then he just stopped, and then everyone was just talking about it. And yeah, we didn't do anything the rest of that lab, I think. But it was a very like it was an experience that I felt back in like high school. You know, I don't know if you guys remember like those ice days that we had back in like 2012. At least if you lived in the area, we had like a
Oh,
week. Yeah.
I remember that.
Um, so it was very similar to that. I felt like I was back in high school. I was having like early release or something. It felt kind of fun at the beginning,
It did.
just hanging out with friends. Uh, but then, and then everything started changing. The curriculum started to change. Finals was weird. Summer was weird. Fall was weird too with honor lock. So it's a weird time um, academically at UTD, especially obviously Molten Doctors. It's all virtual, so it's not. It's the word everyone loves to use, unprecedented. It's unprecedented times. But
I definitely agree with both of you, but I feel like I had a more negative experience at first. I do realize that, everybody was excited and stuff to go on break, that there's extended spring break. But me, I was so like upset because we had tickets. We already had tickets to go to India for my cousin's wedding. And I remember crying in SSB, and I was like, I can't go. And because I had never seen a wedding, and this was, my aunt's daughter, my cousin's wedding. So I was like, wow, okay, I'm gonna miss that, and it was difficult to accept that.
right,
But other than that, when we did go on spring break, I was like, okay, it's fine. I'm chilling. And then we had an extended spring break. I was fine with that. And then I'm like, okay, it's gonna stop now. It's gonna stop now. And then next thing you know, they just keep adding it on and on. And then, like you said, with finals, it was so like unpredictable. Like I was like, okay, so this is how it's going. But I do think that everybody did a really good job at adjusting. And I feel pretty powerful because I'm like, to my kids, I can be like, hey, your mom lived through this, so don't even complain. But I do think that everybody has been dealing with a lot at home or with themselves, but everybody's doing a really good job. And I do think that it has helped me personally, like my personality, my mental health. It was, I'm sure, like with everybody else, it was not going well, but I do think that I came out much stronger. And, you also, I've made a lot of like close friendships, close relationships with certain people. And it kind of truly like revealed a lot of things to me. I came to terms with a lot of things over this time period. So it's like a blessing in disguise. So I'm thankful for it. At first I was like not for it, but now I'm like, you know what? It's okay. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So you kind of just have to accept it and adjust. That's it.
Yeah, I honestly think like this time was like a test of like relationships and like friendships. And I mean, because obviously with your parents, you're stuck at home, and then like how you keep in touch with people you can't see. I feel like it really like tells you which relationships and friendships are valuable, at least for me personally.
No, I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah, I agree too. That's not been kind to me. Yeah, I think
even in testing times.
I think we definitely need years and experiences like this. Like, I don't want to say I'm glad this happened, but like Anmol said, it is a blessing in disguise. I'm someone who likes to see the good side of things. That doesn't mean I'm never negative because I complain all the time. You know me personally. Um, but I think there has been a lot of good things that came out of this, and it really forced people to be in touch with themselves. And like you said, relationships were definitely tested, friendships, relationships with your parents, coming to terms with that. And yeah, I think relationship with like just everyone in the world. I know that's very broad, but like I feel like naturally everyone's going to go to social media because that's like our only form of interaction. I feel like everyone spent so much time there, and we've all kind of united in an online, like I want to say more so than we would have before. When a great tragedy happens, like coronavirus or like George Floyd thing, and now presidential race, like I feel more unified than I did last year, and we wouldn't have gotten that if we weren't quarantined. Um, Obviously, the deaths of coronavirus, that's very frustrating because our country is doing the worst and has been doing the worst, and it's very frustrating for some people to think it's like a hoax or something.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's been very dividing, obviously, because it's exposed people who don't believe in science and don't want to take certain precautions, and made it politicized, which is absolutely makes no sense because everyone is susceptible. But yeah, I agree with you about the unifying aspect. And I was listening to this podcast a while ago about like the social psychology behind all the protests that have been happening in the midst of the pandemic. So it's like in times, even in the past, when there have been times where, like the societal positions of people are kind of threatened and like there's already something that kind of disrupts their daily life. So the pandemic. And then when something comes up that, can kind of bring out that anger. So like this kind of unrelated, but this social psychologist is basically talking about why so many white people who usually aren't so active in, protests with Black Lives Matter in the past, like even just other racial groups haven't been active, why so many people were active this year and why so many people cared. And like some of it does have to do with this existing like anger at the state of things, and with the government not handling the pandemic and just like general like I guess unrest. But yeah, anyway, that was like random rant. I just want to say that.
Yeah, and I've talked about this in like one of like the writing pieces I wrote. I think there has been a lot more activism due to us being at home all the time. We have so much
Yeah,
pent up emotions that we don't know where to channel it,
yeah.
and hope or thankfully we're channeling it to the proper venues and trying to make like positive changes. All right, so I think the next question is, as an undergrad pre-medical student looking to get into medicine, what impact did coronavirus have on you, if any? So for me, I think it just made me a little bit more aware of like how impactful like medicine is on a global scale, um, and how I guess it made me really grateful that I'm on this path, and made me honestly want to like pursue this path even more. Um, and like I was very thankful for all the healthcare workers around the world. They were all working together and trying to just make uh, like they all had a common goal in mind. Um, as far as like a local kind of personal undergrad pre-medical aspects and impact, I don't think I had too many. I think I would have had a even more impact if I was in medical school right now. I think that would have been made me more aware. Um, but yeah, outside of that, not too much. Obviously, for medical school interviews, I have to. I'm learning about like the timeline of coronavirus and everything, and it's generally interesting to keep up with it. I've been checking it every day. I mean, I try to. I have like moments where I don't. It's just really interesting to me, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely agree with just being able to appreciate medicine more and just the immense work that goes in, not, just from the level of physicians, but everyone, nurses, physician assistants, all the way to the people who clean, medical rooms. But I think for me, it was a little different, although it definitely had a positive impact in being, more motivated for a career of health. I think also I've talked about it before in the last session, but it made me realize just I guess personally that I wanted some more time before going into this field to work on myself and different things that I'm interested in. And I think also something important was it really exposed the disparities that are prevalent in the U.S. and in public health amongst different minorities, especially Black communities, immigrant communities. A lot of people who don't have insurance and can't pay for a lot of services. I mean, the impact on them was just disproportionate. So I think I really paid attention to those issues, and it made me more passionate about going into public health and trying to solve these disparities that exist in medicine.
I feel like there's not much to say because both of you literally covered everything. But I definitely agree with both of you because I do think that when we think of medicine and just like the medical field, we just think of doctors and nurses. But this time, it kind of allowed us to appreciate even everybody that works in a healthcare setting, not just doctors, not just nurses. So it allowed us to be more appreciative of other occupations in medicine. So, but along with everything that you guys also said, I do think that as a pre-med undergrad, it kind of limited our opportunities and resources for us because we have limited opportunities, right? So we don't have access to everything that we used to. Like before, even in molding doctors, we would have volunteering events, we would have get-togethers, we would have health fairs. So we don't really have access to any of that anymore. So I think now a lot of people have been getting really creative in finding new outlets in trying to get experience. So I think it has its pros and cons for sure.
Yeah, something else I want to mention is just like the mass hysteria that was going on in the very early stages of the virus, because I think this was very unique in the modern like history of times. Obviously, there's like Ebola and Zika, but it never hit close to home as much as coronavirus, and it was never this global, I would say, especially in the modern times, and especially with like PPE being scarce and everyone buying toilet paper all the time. Like it was a lot of mass hysteria that I wasn't. I was just like, there's so much misinformation, and it like medicine got very political, and I it really made me aware how important like the political scene is. Um, like election aside, like as important as politics has been for this year, because of the election, the coronavirus politics was also very important. And I didn't know like how much having good leadership and in those countries really affected that. And you can tell by like other nations like New Zealand and like some of the European countries, how they handled it better, and how having effective leadership really like has a huge impact on the health of a nation. And yeah, it just made me really want to be informed on those policies. So when I become a physician, I can, educate my patients more properly without having them get misinformation from the internet or from another unreliable source. All right. So, what do you think the long-term impacts of the coronavirus is going to be, like as a nation, in the world, or in your daily life?
I can just say that the long term, are you saying long term effect of like coronavirus just in our lives or just like overall?
Both.
Okay, so for me personally, as I mentioned before, like this has definitely been a period of like trial and error, right? Like trying new things, learning new coping mechanisms, and I think it's a different experience for everyone. But I do think that this has been a learning experience for everybody, whether or not you were directly impacted by the coronavirus or not. So, in terms of like 5 years down the road, I definitely think that people will look back and reflect over these years because whether or not you've been directly impacted or the people around you have or have not, everybody has experienced something from this virus, right? That like they've either had something snatched away from them or events canceled. So I definitely think that this is something that they'll never be able to forget for generations to come.
Yes, for me, the long-term impact, I think, is hopefully, and I'm really hoping that this would cause people to be more prepared. And by people, I mean like world leaders and politicians, and hopefully we can, as a nation, work together. As we can tell from this coronavirus, that no nation is like immune to it at beginning, at least. And if we all work together and have proper precautions, we can prevent a lot of deaths. It already has been way too many based on like lack of communication or unpreparedness. um, so I think in terms of that, we will be more prepared. And I think as citizens of any country, we will also be more prepared because we've gone through this ordeal. God forbid something else happens like this to this drastic scale. But with the climate change, you never know what kind of other natural disasters that we might face. So I hope as citizens and of every nation we could like work together and not be in panicking all the time, and just be there to for each other, and hopefully people will be grateful for hope like the ones that they are here. um, just be cautious of it.
thing. I mean, just in terms of public health, I feel like people in general will take public health more seriously. I feel like just wearing a mask in public is kind of a hard habit to break now just because we're so used to it. And I think those who are more vulnerable and have, compromised immune systems, I think they'll be wearing masks, maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 years down the line, even if people in our generation aren't, and those who don't feel like they're as susceptible. And then, I mean, just basic things like sanitizing, hand cleaning. I feel like people just care more. And just seeing the deadly effects of this virus, so many more people have gotten a flu vaccine, for example. So I think people, maybe not people who are anti-vaxxers, they might not be swayed yet, but I think, in general, public health, I think people are just more aware and sensitive to it.
So we'll move on to the quarantine slash virtual environment aspect. Neha?
Okay, so how has it been like for you guys, and what have you been doing during quarantine, I guess, besides taking classes, and how has that been?
It has been interesting. I feel like there have been very different stages of quarantine. Obviously, we started at the end of the spring semester while we were still taking classes, and so that was a different vibe. And then during summer, I feel like that we didn't know what to do because normally summer everyone's going out, so we had to adjust to that. And then now school's starting again. There was a lot of changes, so it has been very. I feel like I'm just constantly adjusting, and I haven't made any like long term plans because I don't know what's gonna go on long term, like academically and personally. Well, actually, personally, there haven't been any long term plans because I everything's canceled, and I'm not expecting this to go anytime soon. As far as what have I been doing, like I said before, earlier in the podcast, just been doing a lot of, you know, exploring my own like thoughts and actions and like reflecting on what I've done so far in life, as far as like pre-med or personal, and exploring other hobbies I wouldn't have had the chance to explore without this extra free time at home. But yeah, just being independent and I guess accepting it.
I agree with you with the part where you said that this quarantine has been going on in like different stages. I can definitely attest to that because for me, it was like, in the beginning of it, it was a lot of adjustment. And plus, you're hearing stuff from the media. Your parents are freaking you out. At least, like in my household, they were like, don't do this, don't do that, don't go out, and all this. And I just had like an increased sense of awareness, right? And, of course, I care for my family and my friends, but during this time, it was just much more than ever. I was like, I don't care what happens to me, right? But the people around me just should not be affected. So, if I can, make some changes into my routine, my life, and take precautions, that's going to benefit the people around me. So it was, of course, a lot of adjustments, and definitely, being stuck at home and taking online summer classes with a very questionable mental health was very difficult, but definitely been through a lot of stages, been through a lot of changes. Um, it's been very up, like, what is the word? Like, it's been on and off, as in, even right now, people are preparing for like a second wave. So it's just like, is it going to be the same thing again? Is it going to be something new? So it's just very unexpected. But um, other than that, I feel like I've spent a lot of alone time with myself during this quarantine. Like before, we're just so preoccupied with trying to fill in our volunteering hours or doing like pre-med activities and stuff. But during this time, for a bit, kind of went away from that and just focused on myself, kind of dove right into or my passions like reading and painting or spending time with my brother, more family time for sure. So I was appreciative of that.
about it, but yeah, like Anmol said, there's been ups and downs. Yeah, there were like a few productive phases when I just started random hobbies like embroidering. I did like so much cooking and baking, like almost every day. And then I had some unproductive times where I just felt pointless. And I'm sure you guys did too occasionally. Um, but yeah, besides that, I guess I've just been trying to be aware and just read the news every day. So, next question. So, do you guys think there have been any positive impacts from the quarantine? And what do you guys see as the pros of it?
Okay, when you said positive impact, like right off the bat, what I could think of is relationships and friendships. I feel like relationships and friendships have been really put to the test during this time because you kind of don't really pay attention to that, because you see these people every day, they're a part of your lives. But during quarantine, it's like, who's really going to reach out to me, or who do I really want to, take the time out to talk to, who's going to be there for me. And so I think a huge, huge positive outcome from this quarantine is a much more like deeper relationship, deeper friendships, much more genuine. So I have formed very genuine and deep friendships and relationships. So I'm very thankful for that. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, I think I can echo that. Like, it's definitely uh, been put up to test, and I think some other positive impacts are obviously just getting the time to just be independent and just, I guess, focus on yourself. And it really does kind of tell you, who cares to like check up on you or not. It also tells like um, who can withstand like big changes, and those who can adapt are obviously going to do better in these times. Some other positive impacts are, I think, honestly, on the climate, because we're not going out so much. We're not, gas wise or any other events that cost a lot uh, environmentally. So I'm happy to hear about that. I think, and when China went on lockdown, like the air was clear, but when they quit lockdown, the air was back how it was. But you can see like the positive impacts of everyone staying home. And it almost kind of feels like poetic, like Mother Nature kind of trying to course correct. Obviously, the coronavirus is bad, but it sometimes feels like those changes and big drastic measures are necessary for us to like focus on the climate and everything. So environmentally, I'm thankful for that. Personally, I think obviously classes wise, I think there's more time obviously because you're not walking around from class to class. Um, you're always constantly on your computer, so like you should be able to get your assignments done quicker or on time. If you can find all those assignments and keep up with all the syllabus. But yeah, I think that's the positive impacts. What about you, Meha?
I think, before, especially being on a campus, you're so used to being surrounded by people all the time. And that also, I guess for me, that comes with, seeking validation and, feeling like I have to be part of this community. And otherwise, where is my role on campus or just in different organizations? But I think this has just kind of centered me into just focusing more on myself and not caring so much about what other people think, even if that's in like casual ways, like me just walking in my sweatpants because no one is around, But like just stuff like that, I feel like it impacts me. And then, you just form closer ties to the organizations and people that actually matter. With Molding Doctors, we've kept in touch this whole summer, and we've been continuing to form programs and things so that we can help our community. So I feel like kind of the meaningless, like extra stuff kind of fades away. And then besides that, like Shri mentioned, with the environment, I mean, like my parents aren't going back to their office anytime soon, so they're not going to be driving, all the way to downtown Dallas, and my dad takes flights often. So I agree with that aspect. I think it just allows more efficiency. So yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so we're in college, so obviously taking classes, so it's an important part of our life right now. So how has the experience with doing all of your classes virtually, I'm guessing for you guys, how has that been?
Um, I I think like most things, there's pros and cons. I personally do not like the virtual experience overall. Like if I had to choose virtual versus in person, I would obviously choose in person. And I think it depends on where you are in life and especially like what year. Um, I think, yeah, I think as a senior, I definitely want to be on campus and have those memories built before grad school, etc. Um, as far as learning experience, that is also not the best. I do much better in person uh, class setting, um, where I can interact with other students and everything. As far as grading, I think grading really depends on the class and the professor. Some professors have made it really much more, I guess, doable, and they have been understanding. I feel like other professors have just kept it the same, more or less. Um, so in that aspect, I do appreciate, and I like the fact that if I have a meeting or a class at like 10 a.m., I could wake up at like 9:50 and just roll into my chair. So that's definitely nice. Yeah, there's really no excuse to be late, or you can't say traffic or stuff like that. So that could be both good and bad depending on how you see it. But yeah.
Um, for me, I think it's been a pretty okay experience because I feel like with virtual classes, it requires a lot of self discipline. And if you're just not in that mindset, then it becomes very difficult. So for me, like I need that physical interaction with my professors. Like if I have questions, I don't want to sit there and wait, for like an email back, right? But obviously we have to now. But I'm the type of person that if I have a question, I would like for it to be answered right away before I move on to the next thing. So I feel like that definitely is a drawback. But other than that, definitely I can say that it does save a lot of gas. Like I live in Wiley, and I mean it's not that far. UTD is not that far, but with like traffic, and I live like almost close to Rockwall, so it's definitely a drive for me, especially during like rush hour. So I think it has saved me a lot of gas and time, and of course everybody with their parking permits. So that's been a good thing. As for professors and grading, I feel like it, as Trey said, I think it depends on the professor because while some of my professors have been pretty, understanding of the circumstances, some of them, they're just like, it's okay, you got this. So I don't know. It's been okay. Definitely, I've been adjusting to it. So
Yeah. I was very disappointed at first because, like you guys, it's my last year on campus. So I was really looking forward to at least the second semester getting to see people and just interacting with people and even a graduation maybe, but I guess that's too much to hope for now. But yeah, other than that, I think I definitely got used to it. And this semester I am taking easier classes, although I'm still taking like 18 hours. So I feel like I kind of just take advantage of like the flexibility with deadlines, which I probably shouldn't, but I've kind of slacked a little. Maybe it's also because it's senior year. But it's also allowed me to do other things because I feel like I don't have to invest as much time since I can be a little more flexible with it. So like I started a virtual internship this semester, like I've told you guys, with Mosaic. So I feel like it's just allowed for me at least more flexibility, but also I should probably slack a little less. So, okay, yeah. What part of UTD do you guys miss the most?
Um. Oh boy. I I just miss seeing people. Honestly, I think out of everything I can think of, I think I just miss seeing people. Um, I don't miss walking to my class because sometimes it would be at two ends of the campus, and um, yeah, just interacting with people, and yeah, I can't think of anything else.
I think yeah, interacting with people, but also I enjoyed being or walking past the plinth and just seeing all of the lively events there, all of the different clubs. So it was nice to see, the student body just getting together and having a good time. So that's what I really miss. Obviously, apart from like classes. So
Yeah, like I definitely miss general meetings with following doctors, and I miss peer tutoring in person. It's just not the same over online. What do you miss, Meha?
Definitely miss people, although maybe not just random people all the time. Because I also like just being alone, and I just like care about like a set number of people. But I really just miss being part of communities like Molding Doctors, and then also I was part of the center of U.S. Latin American initiatives on campus. So we would do like Spanish workshops together, and we would host different events that were related to the Latin American department. And I don't know, just these communities, I feel like just motivated me and made me feel like, as part of something bigger. And like now I kind of have to just derive that on my own and, try to find my own motivation for doing things. But it's like nice when you have people who have similar passions around you that you get to talk to. So, last question. What part of being in society do you miss the most and look most forward to?
Well, Anmol is in society right now, so I'll let her take this one.
are you talking about Starbucks?
Yes.
Okay. So I would say that I miss, like eating out and going to coffee shops and stuff. But the thing is, like, they're much more not lenient, but you have to wear a mask to enter, even though before it was like those places would be like closed. So I appreciate that now. But something that I definitely do look forward to is, as a Punjabi, we have a lot of like Punjabi events, like festivals. So I definitely look forward to those opening up so I can be cultural.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Meha, what do you miss the most?
I have not sat inside a restaurant or coffee shop this whole time because my parents are kind of strict about that. And my dad, like, he has bad asthma, so we try not to do anything too risky. But I just want to sit inside a restaurant and eat. I'm tired of sitting outside all the time. 'Cause now it's going to be cold, so I can't even like go to restaurants. So I'm kind of tired of that. That's really basic, but that's just what
Right. Anything else? You just miss restaurants?
I mean, I probably miss other things. Um, what do I miss?
Did you have any senior plans? Like
I mean,
traveling?
yeah, I definitely like to travel. This past summer, I had a lot of plans. Like I was going to visit the migrant shelter I volunteered at the previous summer, and then I was gonna go to India and then like spend a good time there. And I also wanted to do some kind of volunteer work in India because I've never gotten to spend a extended period of time. I mean, I lived there, but besides that, just on my own. So hopefully, I also want to be able to visit my family next year. We'll see if that happens.
Okay.
What about you?
Um, I miss going to the movies. And I know that sounds super basic, but it's just that feeling of going to the movies, of going to the theaters and buying popcorn and getting a drink. Um, and yeah, that's what I miss, and miss just like general, outings with friends. Um, and I guess what else do I miss? Um, yeah, I can't really say much about food because I've been eating fast food every now and then. So it hasn't been too bad in that regard, thankfully. And I've been getting exercise, so I don't miss that aspect either. I think it's mainly just hanging out with friends most of the time. And like, if COVID were to stop suddenly, like in 2021, I would definitely want to travel at least to a weekend in Austin or something like that. And I think everyone has plans next year, regardless of COVID or not. But I'm hoping they would not do that. But yeah.
Have you tried drive-in theaters?
Uh, yeah, I looked into it. Maybe we'll see.
I've been to one once. It was far though. It's a nice experience though.
Is it
It
the one
smells
in?
like vintage. In Flower Mound?
Yeah.
Oh no, I went to one that was farther. I don't remember where it was. It was kind of secluded. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'll be like, I don't know. Maybe it's an experience,
Yeah. I mean,
but
you
yeah.
just go with your girlfriend. It'll be
All right. So, anything else that you guys miss about society?
I'm missing people.
Thanks, on
You're welcome.
first to anyone who's listening. We miss you. We
Yes.
miss getting to engage and like actually, feel like we can support you as much as
I
our.
also miss. Oh, sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
I also miss the volunteering events that we had. Like I remember this time last year we did Thanksgiving with the homeless or something. So that was a lot of fun. So I miss events like those. It was always something to look forward to on the weekends if you don't have a life like me. But yeah.
Yeah. I think out of everything in Molding Doctors, volunteer events has taken the biggest hit. So we definitely miss that aspect. And general meetings, I think, is a huge hit also. I
Officer
miss
pictures.
officer pictures, yes. But hopefully next semester do slightly bit more. We'll see what UTD has to say about that. But yeah, do you guys have anything else you guys want to say? Okay, I have a random, quick, fun question, I guess. Um, you know how schools start like in August, and we have like a fall semester and a spring semester? What if school started in January, and in between semesters we have that huge summer break? Do you guys think that would? Do you guys think you guys would like that?
My motivation, my drive out the window. I would get so accustomed to not doing anything. It would be really bad for me. But yeah.
Wait, so the first semester would be in January, and then we would end, and then it would be okay. Yeah, I agree with Anmol. Like, I feel like I just need a continuous just path for that year, so I can project all my goals and just do it all in one go. So get lazy in the summer.
All right. Okay. I'm trying to. I feel like I would hate it. I'm trying to like it. I'm trying to make some excuse to like it, but I think we're just too accustomed that we literally don't know any other way. Like what if we had a summer semester? What if like the second semester started in like July or June?
But what is the purpose of? Okay, so it's just continuous, and then we have like the fall off.
Yeah, we have the fall off, yes.
I don't know. I don't want change. I'm fine with the things how they are.
So it's a question of, would you rather have a summer break or a fall break?
Summer.
Summer. Okay.
It's like easier to travel places in summers.
True. Yeah, I still can't believe some places don't really have like 4 seasons. Like it's either like always hot or always cold, or some places have like just rainy seasons for like months. I can never do that. I can't. I don't like the rain for that long.
Yeah, in India it's like monsoon. I like it. I don't know, maybe I'm just kind of used to it, but I like the feeling of rain being
Yeah,
outside.
once.
I guess. I mean, we have such sporadic rain. Like, I don't know when it's gonna rain and when it's not. At least, like, if you have it for a set period of time, you can expect it.
Yeah, I don't know. Everyone hates on Texas weather, but I like it. It keeps things spicy. Never know what you're gonna get. It's like Russian roulette.
Well, like 70 degrees, so I don't know what's happening. When is winter coming? It was like, yeah, it's 70s this week.
Yeah. All right. Do you guys have any special shout outs that you guys want to say?
Shout out to you, the listener, for listening to this. Thank you. We appreciate your support.
Anmol?
You're making me feel like I'm famous. This is not good for my ego.
Where can the followers find you? What's your YouTube channel?
Yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe, guys.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in to our first molding discussions, like Meha denoted. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry if it was a little bit random and if there were little gaps in when we were editing this. But yeah, hopefully you guys will tune in every week. And if there's something you guys want to see or didn't want to see, please let us know in the comments below. All right. Bye, guys.